Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. In today's video for Warhammer 40,000 Combat Patrol, we're going to take a look at the Sanctuary Guardians Combat Patrol detachment for the Adepta Sororitas. Today's video is sponsored by Easy Roller Dice, fantastic quality, easily legible dice that make your games quick and easy. Easy Roller Dice also sell other accessories for your dice like dice trays, cases, bags and cups as well. Use the code CinderfulGaming to get 20% off your next order and help support this store and the channel. Our formation is led by a Canoness called Canoness Adalia. This model is equipped with a Condemner bolt gun, hallowed chainsword and null rod. Joining her is a unit of Battle Sisters, 10 models in the unit, and the Sister Superior armed with Combi Weapon and Power Weapon. We then have one Battle Sister equipped with Ministorum Flamer, another Battle Sister equipped with Ministorum Heavy Flamer, another Battle Sister then with a Close Combat Weapon Simulacrum Imperialis and Bolt Gun, and the rest of the models in the unit are all equipped with bolt guns. Joining them next is a unit of 10 Acroflagellants. These models are all equipped with Acro Flails. And lastly, we have a unit of Celestian Sacrosancts. Every model in the unit is equipped with a bolt pistol and hallowed mace. For our ability, we have an ability called Acts of Faith. Each unit from your army can perform one act of faith per phase, and this is done using miracle dice. Now, gaining miracle dice is done during the game, and you gain one miracle dice, first of all, at the start of each turn, both yours and your opponent's, and each time an Adepta Sororitas unit from your army is destroyed. Each time you gain a miracle dice, you roll 1d6, that is a 1 normal 6-sided dice. The number you roll is the value of that miracle dice. This value cannot be changed or re-rolled unless a specific rule says otherwise. You keep your miracle dice to one side, and this is what's known as your miracle dice pool. Now, you can then perform acts of faith with these miracle dice during the game. Before making a dice roll for a model or unit from your army that has the acts of faith ability, if you have one or more dice in your miracle dice pool, that unit can perform an act of faith. Now, if it does so, you select one dice from your miracle dice pool to substitute that dice roll. If a roll involves more than one dice, e.g. a charge roll or battle shock, only a single dice can be substituted. The dice that is being substituted is not rolled, instead the value of the selected miracle dice is used as if it had been rolled, and this counts as an unmodified dice roll for all rules purposes. For each miracle dice can only be used and selected for substitution once. Once all miracle dice substitutions have been made, remove the chosen miracle dice from your miracle dice pool and roll all remaining unsubstituted dice as they are part of the roll as well. You can use miracle dice when a unit performs an act of faith for any of the following types of abilities. These are advance, battle shock, charge, damage, hit, saving and wound rolls. So a nice array of different ways we can affect the outcome of dice in our game. Now, the first real choice we have here to make is for our Canoness, who is our Forces Warlord. We get to give this model an enhancement, which is something that can buff up not only the model itself, but our army as well. Now, the default one is called Defenders of the Faith, where you improve the save characteristic of models in the bearer's unit by 1, which is a fairly solid buff. And in your command phase, you can discard one miracle dice, and then if you do so, until the start of your next command phase, you add one to the objective control characteristic of models in the bearer's unit. I think this is a pretty solid enhancement. First of all, it's like really buffing up the unit that she's joined. Now it boosts the save characteristic of models in the bearer's unit. She counts as part of her own unit, so she would have a bonus save, which is nice. Also increasing her own and her unit's objective control is good. Like getting 2 for 1 here is a very solid enhancement. The optional enhancement we have is Righteous Fury, and the bearer's unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which they advanced or fell back. And in your command phase, you can discard one miracle dice, and if you do so until the end of the turn, you can reroll charge rolls. This is a much more offensive focused one. Now, this for me is going to really depend on who we have our Canoness join, as she can join 2 different units for us. The first of these being the regular Battle Sister squad, and I think that's where Defenders of Faith would come in. If you're going to stick her in the Battle Sisters, she goes in Defenders of Faith. Righteous Fury for me is if you're going to stick her in the Celestian Sacrosancts, which is a pretty good close combat focused unit option we have access to there. I think when you've got such a unit that wants to get in combat so much, being able to advance and fall back in a turn, and shoot and clear charges in that same turn as well, really does open up a world of opportunities for her. Next, we have the secondary objective options, and the first of these is Hallowed Retribution. You score 3 VP for each time an Adepta Sororitas unit from your army destroys an enemy unit, and if that unit performed an act of faith during the phase, they'll score 4 VP instead. I think this is a pretty solid secondary. Trying to kill your opponent's units is something you're already trying to do, so getting points for doing it, and points when you're using your special little dice, is a cool thing. There is obviously the importance here of making sure you always have some faith dice available to you. You do gain them at the beginning of each turn. Just making sure you're having one to use when you are going to take an enemy unit out is incredibly important to make sure you are getting those bonus points. Now, the alternative option is Consecrated Ground, and this is the second battle round onwards. At the end of your turn, you score 3 VP if one or more Adepta Sororitas units from your army, excluding battle shocked units, are within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield. If one of those units is your Warlord, you score 4 VP instead. This, for me, I'd only be taking if you are playing on a scenario where you have, say, a objective in the center of the table. I'd be sticking my Canoness in her unit of Battle Sisters, and then having the Defenders of the Faith as my enhancement to give them that extra objective control and really just become a massive threat in the center of the table. Now, we do have 3 different stratagems that we can use with this particular force. The first of these is Ascetic Discipline. What this does is done during your shooting or fight phase. You select an Adepta Sororitas unit from your army that's not been selected to shoot or fight, and until the end of that phase, each time a model in the unit makes an attack on a critical wound, you increase the AP by 2. This is pretty cool. Now, critical wound here is incredibly important because this means this is going to work on our flamers that we have on some particular units, but also like increasing the AP of units that don't have a lot of AP but can punch out a lot of attack, like Arcoflagellants, is a really nice option. A Martyr's Death is our second stratagem. This is used when your opponent's shooting or fight phase, and just after an enemy unit selects a target, you then pick one of your Adepta Sororitas units that is a target. Each time you use this stratagem, you can discard 1 miracle dice until the end of the phase. Each time a model in the unit is destroyed, if that model has not shot or fought, you roll a d6, adding 1 to the result of the discarded miracle dice when using this stratagem. On a 4+, do not remove the destroyed model from play. It can shoot or fight after the attacking unit has finished, though they are still removed. So you can shoot or fight before you're taken down, essentially. Now, Holy Radiance is our last stratagem, and this is used during your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit selected a target, and you use it on one of your Adepta Sororitas units that was selected as a target from those attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets your unit, subtract 1 from hit rolls for models in your unit that have a Feel No Pain 5+ ability against that attack. So you subtract 1 from hit rolls, and models in your unit have Feel No Pain 5+, which is really solid. This is a really decent debuff on your opponent, enabling you to just keep some of your units, which, you still need power armor with Adepta Sororitas, but being able to get the Feel No Pain and make up for maybe the lack in toughness you're going to suffer from is a very solid ability. And so our first unit is the model leading our force, our Canoness, called Canoness Adalia. Now, she's pretty solid. She's got a 4+ invulnerable save there on top of that 3+ save. Toughness 3 being, the big downside of Battle Sisters. They are going to be hurt quite heavily by small arms fire, in that they're going to get wounded a lot, but they can save quite a bit with a good armor save. She's armed with a Condemner bolt gun, which actually is really good against enemy psychers. It also can target characters as well. Has the devastating wounds roll, which means anytime you get a critical wound on this thing, rolling a 6 to wound, you'll just do some mortal damage. Her Hallowed Chainsword is pretty good in the fight as well, allowing you to deal some decent damage due to just a high volume of attacks. Now, she can join the Battle Sister squad of Celestian Sacrosancts, who we've already mentioned, and when she does so, while this model is leading a unit, each time a model in the unit makes an attack, you can re-roll the hit roll. So, can really buff up some of your units pretty nicely, especially considering if you've given her a particular enhancement, she's going to be giving them even more benefits. War gear abilities, her Null Rod models in the Bearer's unit have the Feel No Pain 4+ against the mortal wounds and psychic attacks. This is pretty solid all round, giving her unit a ton of different buffs, not just from this profile as well, remembering that she will have an enhancement. Potentially she could be giving +1 to save on them as well. A really powerful force multiplier on whatever she joins. A Battle Sister squad is next, and we have 10 of these in the unit. Now, they do have a 6+ invulnerable save, which is nice, that 3+ save thanks to power armor, but once again, toughness 3 being the big weakness. Objective Control 2 here is nice, meaning they can actually go to Objective Control 3 as well if the Canoness has the right enhancements. Now, they are armed with a variety of different weapons. For the most part, they've got bolt guns on them, though we do have the combi weapon, which has some devastating wounds and anti-infantry 4+ rules, and the flamers there, which provide some nice ignores cover torrent weaponry. These are pretty cool, especially the heavy flamer, which is strength 6 -1 AP, and the Ministorum flamer is still strength 5 as well. Generally, your Battle Sister flamers are slightly stronger than a regular flamer, which is nice. Now we've got the power weapon as well on the unit's leader, the Sister Superior, AP -2, getting some extra strength in there for strength 4 and 1 damage with 2 attacks. Couple of extra attacks in combat can really potentially help. Now, patrol squads before the battle at the start of the declare formation step, this unit can be split into 2 units, each containing 5 models. I would personally only be looking to do this if you have not made the Canoness join the unit. If you've got the Canoness in the unit, especially if you've picked that Defender of the Faith enhancement, you want to get the most out of it, you want to have her in a full-size Battle Sister squad. Now the last thing they've got is a War Gear ability thanks to the Simulacrum Imperialis. At the end of your combat phase, for each objective marker you control that has 1 or more units from your army with ability in range of it, roll 1d6 on a 4+, you gain a miracle dice with a value equal to the result. So another way to gain some extra miracle dice. This is pretty cool because obviously it's going to want them to be on an objective, which if they've got the Canoness joining them, they've got Defender of Faith, they're already going to be wanting to do. You can combine this once again with one of your stratagems. You really sort of see an idea of getting this unit with your Canoness in them onto an objective to score you points and gain you more abilities for your force. Next are the Celestian Sacrosancts, and straight away they pose a question to you in how you want to play, because they're Sworn Protector rules. While an Adepta Sororitas character is leading the unit, each time an attack targets this unit, they become -1 to wound. And so this is the other option you're going to have to take. They definitely become a much more threatening combat unit, considering they're all armed with hallowed maces, which have the lethal hits rule on their 3 attacks at strength 4, -1 AP and damage 2. Lethal hits being anytime you roll a 6 to hit or a critical hit, they will automatically wound the target. You still need to make a save roll though for your opponent. Now, this, like I said, is really going to be where the choice comes in. Do you want her to go into this unit where they be -1? They only are OC1, so they're going to go to OC2. They've got a 3+ save though, so they could go to that save 2+, or you could choose to potentially give them reroll charges to get this unit into combat. They do have a 4+ invulnerable save there as well. It's a good option to have. I think the Canoness can do well in both units, and really it's going to come down to what you're fighting. If you want this unit to really get stuck in a lot more, then you're probably going to want your Canoness to join it to give them the buffs to allow them to be a helpful objective grabber on your force as well. And lastly, we have the non-Battle Sisters in our combat patrol, and that is the Arcoflagellants. Now these models can pack out quite a few attacks. 4 attacks each with strength 5, no AP and damage 1. Now remembering, we do have the stratagem which can get them some extra AP on critical hits. So AP -2, damage 1 with 4 attacks each at strength 5 sounds an awful lot nicer. Now they do only have a 7+ save, so this means they actually need to get save benefits to have a save at all. They've got toughness 3, so once again the generic sort of downside of Adepta Sororitas. A Feel No Pain 5+ though does make up for this, so they can shrug off some damage. And the Extremis trigger word is nice, so each time this unit is selected to fight, you can choose to invoke its Extremis trigger word. If you do so, until the end of the phase, Arcoflagellants by models in this go to attack 6, which is pretty nasty when you consider there's 10 of them, so that could be 60 attacks coming out of them. Though they do gain the hazardous rule, which can potentially have them killing themselves in this sort of pain-induced fervor. And so we hope this video was helpful in getting you started with Warhammer 40,000 Combat Patrol and is able to give you some ideas and inspiration to start your own force in the game. If you've got any other questions at all, please comment down below, and while you're there, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe and join our Discord server to check out all of our future Warhammer 40,000 content.